Paul Brown, bad man for the 2020-2021, and you know what it is. You know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego too. This is Paul and Rupert.
We're back!
We're coming out with a brand new thought, covered under the blood in which we were born. So we know how to get to.
Is for bold, A is for active, D is for determined. When you consider King David valiantly, you have an idea and understanding of overtaking this. Stay tuned.
Hallelujah, revive us again.
We are excited to bring fresh commentary, good conversation with two bad men. Boy, you don't want to miss this. Bad Man for Christ. Join us.
Stands for determined, just like Peter when he did his first sermon. As the saying goes, bad men for Christ. That is how we'll be for the rest of our life. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our show because you're stuck in the house with nowhere to go.
Welcome everyone to the Bad Man for Christ show. Hello, I am your co-host, Rupert Johnson Jr., coming from New Jersey. My co-host is not with us today, the Bishop Paul Brown, who's normally on that side of me. He's not here today. Why? Because he's a bishop. He's a big deal. He had to go to a conference or something, last minute conference. So you know how that goes. You know, he's like, Rupert, I can't make it. I'm a big deal. You little self, just handle the show. So here I am, handling the show. But because I said this show is too big for just a guy like me, I had to call in some backup. And you know what? I knew exactly who to call. It was my buddy all the way from Baltimore, Maryland. No other person than Elder Mark Brodus. Come on in, Mark. Come on in. All right. Hey, Mark.
What's up, Rube?
It's good to see you, champ. Hey, man, look, how are things going? Why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody? We can get into logistics of how we know each other and all that stuff. But just tell people how you're doing, man, and welcome to the Bad Man for Christ show. Thank you for coming and filling in as co-host with me. But go ahead, just introduce yourself.
God bless you, Overseer. Thank you for the invite. I'm so glad to be here. And hey, guess what? We're back together again. President and Vice President. Hey, who would have thought, man?
That's it.
Hey, well, you know, I'm one of the associate ministers at the Transformation Church of Jesus Christ under the great leadership of our presiding Bishop Monroe Saunders Jr. And man, I'm excited just to be here, just to rap with you and talk to the others on the line. And let's just have some fun tonight, man. And bless Bishop Paul Brown. You know, he's so big now that, you know, he wasn't able to be here tonight. We'll talk about that a little later.
We will touch on that because, you know, when he was an overseer, you know, he was always available to me. But now he's a bishop. And right. You know how that goes. But,
you know, I was debating should I put on my collar because, you know, Bishop never goes anywhere with his collar on. So I was about to put my collar shirt on tonight, but I said, nah, I'll leave that alone.
I should have had you wear your collar because if you're filling in for him, you got to do what he does, and he doesn't forget his collar. You know, no matter where he goes. But let's forget about him. He's not here with us today.
Right.
Let's talk about something. It's Women's Month. National Women's Month, and there is a lot of great things going on about women today. A lot of great things are happening, but we are married men with great women in our lives. And last month we had a competition, and we talked a little bit about it on the show. But we did have to say, when it came to the presentation, you just blew it up with turning that room into a ballroom. I was like, man, you must have set us up because you challenged us, but I think you already knew what you were doing. And talk to me about this transformation that you did of your room, of your dining facility into this beautiful, elegant ballroom.
Well, you know, I got to give some credit to my daughter as well because she was the part of my cooking staff. So what I did was I blocked off my dining room so my wife, who tends to be a busybody, couldn't see what was going on. So while she was downstairs, I was decorating that Friday and then into Saturday. And I told her on Valentine's Day, I said, you need to go into your bedroom and stay there until 1 o'clock. Get yourself ready and I'll come get you at the right time. Okay. So when she came out, we opened the curtains and she was just blown away. So it was a lot of fun just doing it, man.
Now, did you cook? Did you?
I did. Yes, I did cook.
You sure?
And my daughter can tell you I did cook. If she's on, she would type, say, yes, he did cook.
Okay. Hey, look at Bishop Brown. There he is, giving us a love you, man. Bishop Brown, he must have a couple minutes before he's going to his meeting. Love you too, bro. We appreciate it. Now, I will say I did watch the show last week, Bishop Brown. So I did hear how bad you talked about me. Don't worry about it. I remember. I'll talk to you next week about that. But so tell me. Also with the whole entire situation that we had with. Well, let me tell you first. I did cook also for my wife. I didn't have the elaborate setup you had. I gave my wife and my daughter a little in front of the fireplace meal. My meal was later on in the evening. I did the afternoon. I did it that evening. And we had a fireplace meal. I served them. My was a 4-course meal. I'm not going to say, anything about it, but I did do a good job of cooking a lot of good stuff there. So,
Now, did you cook or did you get the food from the store already cooked and
I actually cooked.
Okay.
There are certain things I can cook. You have to know your range, right? So there are certain things that I can do.
Okay.
I kept it. If it didn't have to be fried or if it didn't have to be too seasoned way too much, yeah, I kept away from that. If it was basic, I had steak. I had some lobster tails. I had a salad with blue cheese and strawberries and walnuts. I saw that in the store one day, and I said, I got to make that. It wasn't too hard. I had so everything that I did could easily be done within an hour. So my whole meal took about an hour between prep and completion.
That's important.
And, it was good. It was good. It was so good that when my son came, he had to get part of it. I was like, dude, this is not for you. But he took part of it anyway.
The beautiful thing about it was that our wives were happy and they were satisfied and their stomachs were full. So that's the most important thing.
Yes. You know what? Family comes on and just has to say, yes, I cooked and my father did as well. Thanks for my credit, Dad. She's even thanking you for the credit. Wow. Okay.
Got to keep it real, man. Got to keep it.
Wait. You got to read mine. Read mine. Read what my wife said.
I see it. It was a beautiful, babe. You did a great. See, there you go. That's all that matters.
Amen. We are very happy about these comments.
And Lady Tori Brown, the table did look good for her as well. So we got it.
It did. And she said that I do know that Bishop cooks. So I don't know if he's still listening. Wait, no, I got 6 minutes. I'm not saying anything good about Bishop till 6 minutes.
Right.
We're talking about when he's not there and he can't hear my good comments about him. But he does cook.
Right.
And he did a good presentation too. And so I think we all did well. I think, like you said, our wives were happy. That's what matters.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about. Now we were talking about music before we got on. So we're talking about music. So I'm going to put this out to everybody before we give you the answer. I'm going to put this out to everybody. Pull that album out that you had with TD Jakes. Pull that one out that you had.
Oh man,
which one was it again? So what was that? What's the title?
This is TD Jakes live from the Potter's House with the Potter's House Mass Choir.
Okay, so I would like you to tell me, the people listening, if you think that album did well and how well you thought it did. Now, I said none of their albums did well. Our producer was giving me some info, but I will tell you, you'll be surprised. So I said none of their albums did well. Surprisingly, I said none of them went gold. None of them won anything. So you tell me what you thought. I know Mark got it, but I think Mark bought that. Mark, did you buy that with when CDs were like you get like 6 CDs and you get like 3 for free? Something
like that.
It was
back in the day.
And that was one of the free CDs, right? That wasn't the free ones. Those are the ones you could pick. That wasn't the free one. So, Mark, how did you adjust to marriage And first, tell everybody how long you've been married, and then tell us how you adjusted to marriage during this COVID season.
Well, this year we'll be going on 32 blessed years, and we thank God for that. So it's been a blessing. And I think the blessed thing is that since we're both working from home, we're able to spend more time together.
Wow.
And we're able just to see what each other do on a daily basis, where we often don't know what each person does. And we get to hear each other's conversations, just learn more about the workplace and the environment. So to me, it's been a great thing working home with my wife on a daily basis. Again, it has its advantages, and which we can't talk about. But it's a great thing.
I'm not going to get to that with you right now. but it's yes. I think the same. Different for me. I never worked from home. I was in the healthcare. Matter of fact, when this whole entire thing started, where my wife was working, I just got into a company, started with a gentleman who had a company. I came in, became a partner of the company, and started trying to get this company moving. And so I didn't have that same kind of, I'm home with my wife when she was home. She had to adjust to working from home. And then she was really taking care of, our kids as they were doing school from home. So I was really grateful to her, because really she had a lot to take on. Still does, because we're still in that same mode. How to take on and have to deal with me. And I'm not the easiest person to deal with. Surprise. I'm not the easiest person to deal with, but she did a real great job. So, all kudos to her. Much love to her and what she did. So I'm very proud of that.
But it's interesting you said that, because my neighbor, before he moved, he's an attorney, and he was talking about some of the dockets that they have on the desk are divorces that are up because of couples working home together. They can't stand each other. And I find that he said divorce rates are higher now during COVID because couples just can't get along. I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, I guess, and before we go on, yes, please, if you are enjoying our shows that we're having, because we're enjoying doing them, if you can please subscribe on YouTube and Facebook and like us on these different channels that we're on. We really are looking to see how far we can go with this. So please join us on YouTube and Facebook and subscribe and like. We'd really appreciate it. I think you're right. It's kind of strange, because I believe that men and women, like you said, you didn't know what you all did. And there was a time that you separated, and there's a time that you get together. So it wasn't an all day. But sometimes when people are together all day, it can be stressful.
Right.
It can be very stressful. And if you're not willing to work through the stresses, which a lot of people aren't, you're not willing to work through the stresses, you just say, you know what? I just want to get out of this. So it's a very strange. But I'm so glad that for men and women who believe and love God, that you're willing to work through the stresses and you're willing to try to fight for it. And they're there, they happen, but there's always a good outcome at the end if you're willing to battle through it.
Absolutely.
Amen. So let's move on to another thought, because we're two grown men. We're both above 50. I'm not going to say exactly how old I am or how old you are, but we're both above 50. And that means our health is an issue.
Absolutely.
Mr. Brodus, have you gone and got your checkup yet?
I go regularly. I do not miss a beat. I contributed to one of the sessions that Dr. McNeil did a long time ago, where he talked about making sure men stay on top of their screenings. And I think I had a conversation when we had convocation down at Hilton Memorial back in the day. Remember Virginia when we used to have convocation in Hilton? That's the first time I really had an actual conversation with Dr. McNeil talking about the different types of screenings to do. And from that point on, man, I've stayed on it regularly like clockwork.
Really? I have the exact opposite. I'm afraid of the guys poking around where they shouldn't be poking around, man. I'm sorry. It's scary for me. I don't know.
But you can also get the blood work done as well.
But now you can. So now Dr. Neal told me that there's a blood work version now. So I'm like, oh. So I called my doctor to have this done because I am not good with it. I really am not. And it's bad because your health is important.
Yes.
And we should really take care of it. But men don't. Men are afraid. And again, if you have any questions, folks, please put them in the comments field and we'll answer your questions for you. But men are really afraid about their health, about getting checkups, especially black men.
Absolutely.
Which we shouldn't be. We should be more so, because a lot of the things that kill black men don't have to kill black men.
Mm-hmm.
But we are just so stubborn about just getting these checkups and getting these things done. Eating right, doing those things. We just are so stubborn to do it.
It's funny you say that, because I had an attempt, and I know my daughter's probably going to type, to try to do this raw diet where everything was raw. My version of raw was not her version of raw. And I could not stick to that raw diet, none whatsoever, man. I the thought of alone not being able to eat some baked chicken or fish, wasn't having it. But she's been my inspiration, because she's been sticking on this raw thing. And so I'm watching her, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet to fully adapt to it. But I'm gonna wait and see what happens.
Wait, raw. Okay, bring this back. Raw diet. What is this raw diet?
Where you're eating things that are not cooked, like fresh vegetables, fruits, things that are not meat based, things that are like almost like being like, she just typed it in, almost like being a vegan almost.
Oh, we're not built for that. I'm sorry, any vegans out there, love you, God bless you. We're not built for that. We are supposed to be lions and leopards and tigers and cheetahs. We're not rabbits. We're not rabbits. We don't do that. I cannot go and conquer the world being a vegan. That is not possible. But I don't. I've only known a couple vegans. I've known a lot of vegetarians, but vegans is the thing. Okay, when I thought you said raw diet, I thought you meant like you take some chicken. And
No. That's insane. Eating more fruits and vegetables and things of that type of nature, like cauliflower and broccoli, and
Okay. So that's our second question I'm posing to everybody. First question is, do you think that TD Jakes choir, Part House Choir, had any real success when they were around? And number two is, how many people could do, or do you think being a vegan is, what's the question? Would you become a vegan? Let's say that. Would you become a vegan if you had to? I don't know if the doctor posed to me, Mr. Johnson, if you don't become a vegan, if you don't eat just raw vegetables and fruits, you are going to probably not live past 55. I would say, well, then I can celebrate my death now, because it'd be real tough to do something like that. For me to do something like that. Oh, because it'd be real tough. It'd be real tough. Let's see. You don't cook the veggies because you don't want to destroy the enzymes.
Okay.
So wait a minute. So if I cook the vegetables, I destroy the enzymes? Well then how it tastes. I don't like vegetables as it is. I don't think you can eat vegetables without any. But you know what? Okay, so here's the basis. And Mark, you tell me.
Okay.
And gentlemen, please bring your thoughts in. Being a vegan, okay, does it really make us more healthy? Oh, I'm not going to talk.
I'll let you take that one.
There's no reason to talk to Sean Rollins, because his Ravens haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time. He's acting like they won one a couple of years ago. Okay, they haven't won in a long time. Don't come to me, Sean. You know what? I'm gonna remember you wrote that. Please, producers, keep that historical record, so that way, if Dallas does win the next few years, I remind Sean he needs to become a vegan now. So let's keep that in memory. But Do you think it really makes you? I mean, I said Sean, Simon. Thank you, Simon Rollins. Do you really think that it makes you healthier? Do you really think that? Do you, Mark Brodus, think? I know your daughter's watching, but do you think it makes you healthier?
I think it has its advantages because some of the things I have heard is that it will lower your blood pressure. It will lower your cholesterol. If you are taking, if you're diabetic, it'll help you to lower your diabetes. So I believe it does have its advantages. The issue is, are you willing to stick with it?
Mark, you're not helping me here with this.
You asked the question, man. I just gave you back the answer.
You're not helping me here. There's a lot of. My wife is listening. You're not helping me. Okay, so this is funny. When you cook food above a certain temperature, you destroy the enzymes. The enzymes change the amount of natural nutritional value that we absorb. Yes, Holly, I understand that the food is cooked or not cooked and it gives you more nutrients because we don't cook them out. That's not what my issue is. My issue is if I was meant to be a rabbit, a groundhog, a burrowing animal that eats just, or even birds who just eat raw vegetables, I would have wings or large ears or be able to dig holes very rapidly. I cannot.
And the church said, amen.
I run on the ground and I need to be able to move swiftly and fast. There's never been an Olympic vegan champion anytime soon.
That's
ever.
Right. That's right.
Never been no Olympian has said, I thank God because I won this gold medal because I was a vegan. Zero. None. So I cannot believe that being a vegan helps other than being really conscious to your health.
That's
Other than that, I don't think it helps with muscle mass or a lot of. Matter of fact, I don't know if an athlete, a football player, baseball player, basketball player who's a vegan.
Not unless he's a Raven.
There maybe Ravens are. That's why they can't win nothing, because they're vegans. Lamar Jackson is definitely not a vegan. That much I do know. That brother is not a vegan. That guy can move. That's the only saving grace for that team right now is Lamar Jackson. He can go. But let's talk about sports while we're on this subject. Any questions? Please, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the screen. Please subscribe to our page. We really enjoy it. Let's talk sports, Mark. My football team, as was already said, was the Dallas Cowboys. I've got a team called the City Dallas, and the team name is Cowboys. What's your team, by the way?
They're called the Washington Football Team, which I believe spanked your guys twice last year. So
that's because we didn't know who we were playing.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
We didn't recognize we didn't know, because when we play the Redskins, we normally whoop them. We didn't know who the Washington Football Team was. Because
Right. It's the dawn of a new day. Dawn of a new day. We are here to stay, so don't worry about it. We will do it again this coming football season, so don't worry about it. All right.
What places you guys end up in?
We won the division.
You won the division?
Yes.
And who did you play in the first round?
Was it the Giants?
No, you didn't play the Giants in the first round.
I can't remember. It's so long ago.
I can't remember because you didn't win.
You
played Tampa Bay, right? You played Tampa Bay, I believe. I believe we're the first challenger, Mr. Brady. Okay. I believe in the playoffs. I believe. I think you played Tampa Bay. Wait, what is this? Wait, what is this? Mr. Gore, I cannot understand that the black message you left me. These are vegan football players. Wait.
What?
Okay, so let's talk about the vegan football players. Cam Newton, done. Tyrann Mathieu, really good. But his team lost to Brady. That's because Brady ate him up, because Brady's not a vegan. Theo Riddick, don't know him. Colin Kaepernick, done. DaQuan Jones, who's a nose tackle. That's a big dude.
Yes.
Wow. Andre Patton, no big deal. Wesley Woodyard, don't know him. And he's a Tennessee Titan. Wow.
That's amazing.
That's a lot more than I ever thought there would be.
Wow.
But there's nobody of. Find somebody who's actually a Pro Bowler on there. That is a Pro Bowler. I don't believe Ken Newton's a vegan. Check that again. I don't believe. Do you believe Ken? I don't believe Ken Newton's a vegan.
I don't think he was.
No, I don't think he is. Unless he just became one once he got hurt. He wasn't always a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
That dude dresses too weird to be a vegan. Find out for me, Sean, if he's really a vegan. I would have to say that there's no way. But okay. So let's get back to your team. So your team is the Washington football team because they want to make sure they differentiate themselves from the Washington other teams, the soccer team or the other teams that are out there. So what do you think is going to be their chances this year to get to first of all, to win the division? We know it's not going to happen. Few teams repeat winning divisions, but if they do, what do you think is their chances on beating Tom Brady and that team down there?
Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, man. That's all I'm going to say. We're just going to go to the Super Bowl, straight to it.
You've been delusional for years. You've been delusional for years. Let's move on. Let's go on. You've been delusional for years. There's no way that's going to happen.
Well, as I was telling you earlier, I was so disappointed to find out the U.S. again is not going to make it to the Olympics, and it's so sad, man. So U.S. cannot produce a good soccer team. It's other than the females, and it's
which you would think we could, right? We have some of the best athletes in the world. We are a diverse, multi-diverse country. You would think we could put together a decent team to, if nothing else, to at least get to the World Cup on a consistent basis.
You would think, yes.
And it's incredible how we can't. I mean, we can't. You know, I mean, that to me is something. Look at these people giving us more people
that are vegans. What is this? This vegan nation or something?
No. Who put Chris Paul? No, Chris Paul is not a vegan. That dude's got a pouch. There's no way Chris Paul is a vegan. He's got a little belly. He's not a vegan. There's no way. You check that out again. Unless he just became a vegan, he was not always a vegan. But so back to soccer. There's no way that we should not be able to put a team together.
No, we shouldn't.
It befuddles me because you have great dynamics of a culture from the Latin Americans, the Caribbeans, the Africans. These are descendants that have come through this country. What in the world are we doing?
Exactly. And you find most of them are playing over in Europe, which that says something right there.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. Oh, look at this. You got information. Paul has been vegan since when? 2019. I told you he just became vegan. He had a little pouch. There was no way that dude was always a vegan. Look at all these Olympic weightlifter Kendrick Ferris. That's who that is. Olympic weightlifter. He didn't win. So that's why he didn't get the gold. He was vegan. You got to win the gold. You have to be a meat eater, meat-based. So, look, I don't think we're talking about vegans on our show. We're talking about vegans.
I know. But you want to open up that can of worms we talked about earlier about should family put their personal business out on the airwaves for everyone to hear?
Let's go there. A good topic. So why don't you tell the story, and then we'll discuss it. Tell where we're getting this from.
We're looking at the current events of Kirk Franklin and the issue he's had with his son. So the question is, should his son has put their family business out in the public view, realizing what stays at home should stay at home? What goes on at home should stay at home. But he chose to go the other route and put everything out in the public. So my question is, should you put your dirty laundry out to everyone to see?
So we're not talking about we're not talking about the response from Kirk Franklin. We're not talking about the response.
No,
we're just talking about should we air our family? Okay, so I guess the question is, what did he think he was going to accomplish by doing that? That would be my question.
Exactly.
You know, what were you trying to accomplish? Were you trying to embarrass your famous father because you thought that would help your position? Or did you really just want people to know that, you know, the true story behind everything? And I think that he was trying to go to embarrass his father because he thought it would help his position.
Right. Because what that reminded me of, those shows have already been on TV, Mary, you know, the Marys, you know, the Preachers of LA, all of them brought out some type of stuff about their families. And to me, I just felt it wasn't necessary. I mean, what goes on at home should stay at home, and it shouldn't be out in the public view. That's just my personal take on that.
The tough part is that the tough part is that if it would be different so for instance, those shows, the Marys, the Preachers of LA, the Preachers of Detroit, the First Wives of Atlanta, whatever it is, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
They decided they were going to do a show, right? And so you're going to air your stuff out.
Right.
That's their choice. They want to make money that way. They want to do entertainment. It's so funny how those reality shows have writers to it. But that was their choice. This Kirk Franklin's son. There's no show. There's no anything. You just wanted to get out there and hurt your family,
basically.
And that to me is crazy. I agree with you 100%. No, you don't. That's not what we do. Families have issues. Every family goes through issues, and you have to solve them, because at the end of the day, you're still family. And when those things are resolved, how is the unit working? Does he think now Kirk Franklin is ever going to trust him, or ever going to say, okay, you know what? Don't worry about that. I don't think Kirk's going to do that. Not by Kirk's response.
No.
I don't think he's going to do that.
I don't think so. And it is so sad because, you know, in the society in which we live in, as you know, everybody's always quick to point fingers and always trying to tear someone down. And that's seems what's happening with it right now. And I feel bad for both sides of the family, you know, because there was not a win-win right there.
No, especially Kirk didn't make himself look really good by his response, but I guess he didn't know it was going to be aired out like that.
True.
But his response didn't help a whole bunch, because there are people who are acting as if they're always wonderful and they don't ever have those meltdowns, right? There are people out there condemning him when, if the truth be spoken, they probably had those times when they had those kind of meltdowns too. I don't know if they had so many particular words being used,
right?
but I'm sure that they had certain meltdowns where some things were said where they wish they didn't say them,
right?
But they did. I mean, we have those moments.
Absolutely.
So what's your take then on this? Then I'm going to ask you this question. So what would be your response if Kirk came to you and said, "What should I do? I'm this kid's dad, and what should I do?" What would you be? Now we're men of God, and we don't deny it. That's why we say we're bad men for Christ. But what would be your response to Kirk?
That's a good one, man. That's a really good one, because you stumped me on that one, because I don't know what my response would be to him. I really don't know, because everyone handles situations differently, and we don't know what was really said over the line. It's kind of like, you know, a he said, she said type of thing. But I believe he could have probably approached it differently in a way that it would have been more still be effective, but not with all the choice words that were used in trying to be effective. I mean, because you've raised your kids, I raised my kids. I've never had to use any type of language like that to them. And, you know, I find that they're both successful in the fields in which they're, you know, the way we brought them up. So again, I truly believe there's a way of doing things that can still be effective without using the choice words that were used.
Yeah, and it speaks to, right, that Kirk, is that how you respond to anything that really blows over? Because you have to ask your question, well, how does he speak to your wife, right? How do you speak to your other kids? I know this was a crazy situation, and you probably didn't really, and again, I don't know how his day was. He could have just had a horrible day, and the kid caught him at the perfectly wrong time.
Yep.
And you know, but I probably would tell Kurt, if Mr. Franklin, whatever he wants to be called, I'd probably tell him the only problem I had with it was the words.
The words.
You use some very strong words, and you have too many people looking at you. So even if those words that didn't come out and it wasn't seen by people, it was heard by the God that we serve.
Absolutely.
And that's what I probably would have said. It's not about it being released into the atmosphere and the people saw it, but it was released. And whether or not people would have heard it, the God you serve heard it. And yeah, you could have asked for forgiveness and God's going to forgive you, but we are men for Christ. We are men who are meant to raise a standard. And like you said, you could have gotten with it. You could have gotten to him with other words, and you could have used other words to express your feelings. Kirk, you're a songwriter who writes songs that use words. You could have used different words.
That's right. What is Simon saying now?
Nothing embarrasses his father because he knew how he would respond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess he's saying that he knew that it was going to be something that was going to happen. So I don't know if Simon's saying it happened more than once, and this is the first time that he actually recorded it and put it out there, which possibly because he knew how he was going to respond, or I don't know. If
that brings up an interesting thing. Why was the conversation recorded?
Yeah,
that brings up an interesting point right there. It was almost like as if he's saying, "Okay, I'm waiting so I can hit the button to record this conversation."
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that this wasn't the first time there was a harsh words used in the conversation. This is something that's not new. It's something that's been prevalent, and it's something that we often see as men. It's a scary situation because as men and men of Christ, that's kind of it. Are we repeating things that we want to get better as men of God, or are we staying in that same mold because we just can't break loose of that way? Whether we were raised that way or we want to be better, but we just can't break loose of that mold. I don't know if Kirk came from a hard upbringing.
Yeah.
And maybe there's that one thing in his closet that he can't fix.
Right.
And that's something where we as men of God, we have that same issue, right? Regardless of what it is. Certain things are going to, when I play sports, I told a story to my church. So normally when I play sports, when I play basketball, I'm serious at playing basketball. Okay. But I am never spiteful. I'm never trying to hurt nobody. I'm never trying to do anything. But when I play basketball, there's a lot of chit chat. People are talking a lot of smack, right? It's just natural. But the one thing I won't tolerate is you calling me the N-word. I know young people today, they use that. I don't tolerate that. Right. I grew up in a place where in the time when the N-word, regardless of whose mouth it came out of, was negative. Right. Black guy or white guy. And I grew up in a town where it was predominantly white, so you didn't want to hear it.
Right.
So a young man said that word to me, and I went nuts. I went ballistic. There were 3 or 4 people holding me. I was going to get him, and I remember sitting down after the game. I'm sitting there, and one of the people that I played basketball with tapped me and said, hey, Rev. I said, shut up, man. I know why you're doing that. And I said, he reminded me, of who I was and of who I was supposed to be. So the next time we came to there, I apologized to everybody. I said, we mess up sometimes, and I won't mess up again. But I want to apologize for my action because it was out of line. I don't like being called that word by anybody, but my reaction shouldn't have been that crazy. So I apologize. Yeah. And they laughed. And so whenever I begin to even seem like I'm getting angry, they said, remember, Rev, what you said? Remember what you said? I'm like, oh, I hate these guys. But that was a thing. That was a thing. Do you have any stories where we're going to close with this. Do you have any stories where you stepped out of the mantle of bad man for Christ, and it was just a bad man?
Well, I shared this with the men the other night on our Bible study discussion, where I never forget, I was riding the bus to college, and this guy got on the bus and he spit at me. What? And I had a Martin Luther King flashback. So when he stepped off the bus, I put my foot out and he tripped off of the bus. I felt bad after that, man. But the bus driver looked at me. He laughed because he saw what happened also. But within me, I was like, that wasn't a good thing to do. But I had a Martin Luther King flashback, man, because he spit on me, man. I was like, oh, no. So that's like somebody calling you the N-word, man. I mean, you spit, bro.
Wait, so he just walked on the bus and it was a different color?
Yeah, he was of a different color.
And he just spit on you?
Just spit on me, man. And I was like, okay. So when he got off the bus, walking towards the front, put my foot out and he fell off the bus. Yeah, you laugh, but it's not funny now.
That is funny. And he deserved it. He deserved that one.
But again, it was a moment I should have kept my composure. But again, I don't know. If we had more time about this, I mean, we probably ask that question. How would you feel if somebody spit at you?
Woo!
But I know we don't have much time left.
Yeah, we have about 2 minutes, and so we have to close up the show. But yeah, that would be another show in itself. I mean, there's some people I even heard like wrestlers, professional pro, sports entertainment wrestlers talk about, you can do pretty much anything in the ring, but there's certain things like spitting on somebody that's a no-no for some of them. You could slap me in my head or kick me by accident, but don't spit on me. That's a no-no. Yeah, that for me is a no-no too. I'm not big on that either. So, but everybody, we have to get out of here. I want to make sure I give my last comment to my special co-host today, Elder Mark Brodus. I want to thank you, Mark, for joining me today. Great show. Really enjoyed the conversation with you. Great comments, except for Simon. He has no reason to make any comments. But great show. We appreciate you. I appreciate your daughter vegan us out today. So I appreciate her. But what do you like to say to everybody before you go?
Thank everyone who tuned in again. It was just good to be back with my president.
My vice.
Ooh, back in office again. That's what it feels like. UCJC. God bless you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Amen. So everybody, I was going to ask you, but first question I was going to say, so who was a better president, me or Maven? But I said,
well,
no. I don't win either way. On that one. But everybody, we thank God for all of you for showing up. Please don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube, Facebook, and join us every Monday, 7:15. I'm sure my partner, Bishop Paul Brown, will be back with me on that side again. But I want to thank Mark Brodus for taking the time out to join me. As he said, back to the UCJC connection. Was great serving with him as the men's president, and we just had a great time. Great 4 years there, so we really appreciate the time we had there. But asking all of you to join us again next week as we bring another dynamic show. Next week, we're going to have Pastor Seth Taylor, who was a Liberian UPCI pastor. I was in Liberia last week. We're business partners, and he's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about business. So come on, join me and the bishop Paul Brown, because you know what? You're stuck in the house with nowhere to go. So enjoy. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Badman, LB, Rupert, Albert, and the Bishop Paul Brown. Badman for the 2020-2021. And you know what it is. You know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego too. This is Paul and Rupert and we're the new crew. We're coming out with a brand new thought, covered under the blood in which we were born.